The discomfort is in the fact that you actually achieved what you wanted to, and that the good and that achievement feels differently than you thought it would. And you were hoping it would feel more comfortable. Heyo, busy brain. Welcome to the Busy Brained Saint podcast, where faith meets focus. I'm Camden Hainsworth, an expert ADHD coach, here to help you understand your mind with confidence. God knows your brain perfectly, so let's explore that divine design together and discover just how fulfilling your life can be, living with God and ADHD. Do you know that I have a weekly journal that I send out specifically for ADHDers? If you are not on that email list, go to the show notes right now and sign up for it, because this is not fluff. This is the real deal. This is the stuff that you're going to want to go back and search for in your email app, because it's that applicable. Every week, I'm going to bring a journal entry to you about what it's like to live with ADHD in my life. And then we're going to learn a specific education principle in addition to the latest podcast episodes and where you can find me in the upcoming week. That could be on a mini session with me. That could be like this weekend at the Freedom Festival in Provo. That could be at future events or even new events that haven't quite come out yet. So you want to be on this email list. So go to the show notes right now. Very simply, just put in your email, sign up, and I will weekly be bringing you even more value in a very condensed but applicable way. Thanks so much for being here. Let's hop into the podcast. Hello, you made it. I'm so happy that you are here. My brain is busy and my heart is full. Today's podcast episode is titled When Good Feels Bad. I had the opportunity to coach a couple incredible people this past week, and one of the similar coaching subjects that we were on talked about this idea of, now that I have what I want, I just feel like their shoe is going to drop. And my brain is constantly scanning for things that are going to go bad. And this is a really normal situation. This is the kind of situation that keeps people from saving money. They get so used to the same amount in their bank account that anything after that, above that, they have to spend so that they feel like normal. And in my own business and in my own financial growth, for example, I had to tell my husband, okay, now we know that X amount feels like zero, essentially. So we have a certain amount in our bank account and that feels okay. We're going to be okay. And I'm tired of this amount being the amount that we're always talking about. And so I'm going to set a goal that such and such amount that's higher than that is now our new quote unquote zero. It's our new breaking even. It's our new comfort zone. And we've been working at that for this past year. And it took some discipline. It really has taken discipline and making sure that we're not spending down to that number that we're really used to. And we're talking about the real here. But this doesn't happen just for money. It happens for almost any element of our life. We have our comfort zone. We have our zone of tolerance. And even if that zone is dysfunctional, unhealthy, not ideal, it's still ours. Okay? Think about an old teddy bear, right? A little kid's been carrying around for years and years. I took this cute brown teddy bear that my uncle gave me when I was a newborn baby. We called him Chuck Bear. And I took him to college with me, and I even had my baby blanket with me. It was like, it just represented home to me. I actually wasn't the kind of person that slept with it, etc., but no judgment at all. But that teddy bear, if you were to look at it, it was worn. Its little nose was worn off, so it was all shiny and plasticky underneath it. It had some holes in its seams. It had been around the block, right? It wasn't fluffy anymore. I can't even remember what it looked like. It was like matted down. And we get comfortable with that because it reminds us of home, because of the stories and because of what it represents for us. But if we were to give that to someone and assume that they'd be just as excited about that as a brand new teddy bear, then we'd need to check ourselves, right? But for us, it represents that and more because it represents a whole story. We just have to start to decide if that story is something we want to continue to live by. And it's not that I throw away the teddy bear. That's not the point. It's that the teddy bear is no longer what I reach for. It's no longer the peak. It's no longer the goal that I'm trying to get to. And one of the difficulties with ADHD in specific that I'm finding the more that I coach people with ADHD is that we place a value on a particular indicator and we attach the wrong meaning to that indicator. And I know I've talked about this on this podcast before, but I want to give you an example. We're just going to give these people, we're going to talk about these people because they are us, and this has happened multiple times. So these people have gotten a promotion in their job, or they've met a financial goal, or they have finally been able to run their first mile after years of wanting to run a mile, or they have lost the weight that was really holding them back, or they finally gotten stronger. These are people who have been wanting to not blow up in the face of, I don't know, a trigger or something. They want to be able to hold their nervous system. And all these things are happening, and it's finally what they've been wanting to do, and yet it feels really icky. It feels really unfamiliar. It doesn't feel like the teddy bear anymore. And so instead of saying, oh, this feels new, because our brain tells us, no, we reached the goal. We should be happy about this. Why don't we feel happy? Why don't we feel excited? Why don't we feel alleviated and proud and all these things? And maybe we do feel a little bit of that, but then this wave of guilt and confusion comes and creeps in. And when that wave of confusion creeps in, we think that it means that we're doing it wrong. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm not the right person for this promotion. Maybe I look like a fool running that mile. Maybe I'm losing weight, but it's just going to come back and I'm doing this all for nothing. Maybe I've reached my goal, but it's short-lived. Maybe I thought that this goal was actually big, but it's actually really pathetic and not something to be proud of. And I've just been fooling myself all along. And all that is the limbic brain trying to figure out why it feels bad. It comes up with 1,000 different stories. The problem is that a lot of the time we believe that they're true. And so here we are sitting with this promotion that we fought for, that we advocated for, and it's come true. And now it doesn't feel nearly as exciting and lovely and wonderful as we thought it would, because it's brand new and because it's a learning curve. And because we're used to this very worn down teddy bear and we've been given this new fluffy one and we don't know how to deal with so much fluffy softness, and it's just overwhelming. And we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle the fluffy softness of this brand new teddy bear. It has all of its stuffing in it and it's really almost like a pillow. It's so soft and so cushiony, and that feels exponentially different than my worn teddy bear that knew all of my secrets and knew all of my challenges and knew all of my grit. And am I even allowed to love this new teddy bear? Am I allowed to embrace it? Am I allowed to say that it's so soft and so lovely without saying that I hate the old teddy bear? Am I allowed to do that? And the answer is yeah. Nobody's telling you can't. But our brain says if we love the state of this new place, then somehow where we've spent most of our life is insignificant or is less worthy. But our brain doesn't understand what our rational mind actually knows. It's just emotional, right? That limbic brain is just all about survival. It doesn't care about all the reasons. In fact, it can't even distinguish the reasons. Can't differentiate between what is actual danger and what is not dangerous. And so we come back to the weathered and worn teddy bear because it's familiar, right? Even though this brand new one is being offered to us. And we make it mean something that it actually doesn't mean. What it means is I'm going to hold on to the teddy bear and the new one. And I'm going to say, this feels different and new and fresh, and it smells better and it looks nicer on my shelf and it gives me comfort. And Don't take this full analogy, but that doesn't mean I have to throw away the old one. I bring that with me. I bring everything with the old one with me. And me loving this new teddy bear doesn't have anything to do with me abandoning my old one. And I bet as I'm saying this, maybe you're already having feelings of discomfort, right? Because we place a lot of our value in this life upon the relic, upon the way things have always been, upon the hardship and the efforts that we've put into getting the new teddy bear. And our pride is often in the old one. So we don't, number one, it's not that we have to dismiss all the grit. It's rather, if this new teddy bear gets a stain or falls into a puddle or whatever might happen, gets washed with the red sock and turns pink, we know how to deal with stuff. The old teddy bear is the example of that. We have been through so much stuff so that we could enjoy this brand new teddy bear. And so when things happen to that, we don't need to fear it. That's the second idea that I wanted to drive home here, is sometimes our limbic brain says, don't get too excited. You need to be scanning for trouble. You need to be scanning for things going wrong. Because if you get too excited or too happy or too grateful or too joyful, and then something bad happens, that's a long way to fall. And that's going to hurt really bad. So if we stifle our joy and we look and scan for trouble and bad situations wherever we're going, then our brain says in the worry, we can say, oh, I already knew that was going to happen. Instead of trusting that because of all the old teddy bear experiences we've had, we can live our life in joy and gratitude and love and flexibility and freedom. And then we can also know how to handle ourselves when we fall deep and fall hard and make mistakes. But we already know that we can get through that. We don't have to be scanning anymore. And so to be able to let go of some of the old systems that we abided by, the old narratives that we needed to be scanning for trouble everywhere we went, to let go of that is to develop more self-trust, to lean into the gratitude and the joy and the brilliance and the light, and still know that if something goes a little different than we expected, that we can catch ourselves. That's self-trust. Worry and anxiety and staying in the schema of that old teddy bear is not developing self-trust. We're in fact trying to we're giving ourselves a false sense of confidence that we have some way of preventing things from going wrong if we're scanning constantly for trouble. This is not to suggest that when we get the promotion, when we run the mile, when we lose the weight we're hoping for, when we hit a PR in our lifting, when we're able to hold ourselves and say the hard thing amidst a difficult situation with a loved one. It's not to say that we don't scan, that we're flippant and we're irresponsible. That's not the point. But the point is that we don't try and make it a problem. Our brain over here at the old teddy bear is constantly trying to make it a problem, trying to scan for a problem because it was afraid of survival. And once we pop ourselves out of survival, yeah, sure, like live smart, don't live in a naive state. And also, we don't need to continue to live off of those survival tendencies. Nothing is going wrong. And it's also not wrong for it to feel uncomfortable at first. But don't make the discomfort mean that there's something wrong with you, that you've done something incorrect, that you're not worthy of the joy, that really you were just fooling yourself all along. Imposter syndrome usually comes up in this space where we're like, no, somebody else is actually better for the job, or there's no way I could have just done that. I must have cheated or cut corners somehow. No, that's not the discomfort you're feeling. The discomfort is in the fact that you actually achieved what you wanted to, and that the good and that achievement feels differently than you thought it would. And you were hoping it would feel more comfortable. But how do we get more comfortable? I was just talking to a client who's up in northern Utah, and they're at Bear Lake, and it's cold. It's cold. It's not even 80 degrees. And I was thinking about how you have to acclimate to the water, right? Especially lake water that's coming from snowmelt, right? Put your toe in at a time, and it's like really uncomfortable at first. And we could just abandon and go, oh, there's no way I'm going to have fun in that water. And we just go sit on the beach and get a blanket or whatever. Or you can start to acclimate. And so stand there for a little bit with your toes in the water and your feet in the water. Hopefully it's not so cold that they go numb. Hopefully your body adjusts. That would be really cold. And so let's just say that this is swimmable water, but maybe it's a little bit more on the colder side. It's the Pacific Ocean water. That's what I'm used to in San Diego. Okay, we're not talking about Florida water that's always warm. We're talking about like San Diego water that's often a little bit cold. And so you get in, and then you get to your knees, and then you get to the worst midsection, right, where it hits your belly, and you're like, takes away your breath, but then you're okay, but it feels uncomfortable. If I was supposed to say to myself, this isn't uncomfortable, this is totally normal. Why am I feeling this way? How dare I feel this way to be in this water? Who do I think I am? I must not know how to get into the ocean. I must not know how to swim. That would be so unhelpful. But to say, oh my gosh, this is colder than I thought. This does not feel like it should be. Like I thought that we were going to come in and it was going to be fun. And this is different than my expectation, right? And then we acclimate. And all of a sudden our feet aren't nearly as cold. And our legs aren't nearly as cold. Our midsection is, because that just barely touched the water. But we acclimate until eventually we can dunk ourselves in, and then we're in the ocean for an hour, playing and not even noticing the temperature of the water because we're avoiding the waves, or we're looking at the fish, or we're distracted by other things. And that's what we do as we're leveling up, as we're improving in our life. To expect that new part of our life is just going to feel perfect and glorious and comfortable and familiar the first time it comes through. It's not the case. So we don't need to dismiss the discomfort. We just don't need to place the value of the discomfort on the wrong indicator. I wasn't feeling bad because I was a bad swimmer. I was feeling bad because I hadn't acclimated to the water yet. I wasn't feeling bad because I got the new promotion and I wasn't worthy of the promotion. I was feeling bad because now I have some new responsibilities to live up to, and that's a little intimidating. And that's okay. And it's also really great, right? So we're allowed to have a mix of different emotions. So it's okay when sometimes the good things feel bad. That is a mark of progress and a mark of maturity. As it is the World Cup, I just wanted to mention this with sports too, right? Oftentimes you have leveled sports, and you go from one level of play and maybe you make it a higher team. And now you're a little fish in a big pool instead of being a big fish in a little pool, right? And so you level up and it feels different at first. You don't know the pace, you don't know the coaches, you don't know the intensity, what's expected of you, what's required of you, but you should be excited because you made this team, right? That's what your brain says. You should be excited. This should feel great. It's a whole different level of play. And so if it doesn't feel great right away, that's okay. That means you're acclimating. And so we just don't need to make it mean that we're not a good enough soccer player, that we're not skilled enough to keep up with this level. No, that's not what we're looking at. You made the team because you do have the skills. The discomfort that you're feeling is actually just in the newness and the uncertainty and the not knowing what's next. And that doesn't have to be a problem. In fact, that's the exact thing that points to the fact that you are human. I'm going to be at Freedom Days this week, July 2nd through the 4th. And that's in Provo. My booth is going to be smack dab in front of the old courthouse that faces University Avenue. And I will be facing north. I'll have a booth that's facing north. We are going to have new ADHD shirts for sale, and stickers are going to be there for sale again, and church bags. And it should be a lot of fun. I would love to meet you. If you would like to come out and say hello, I'd love to talk ADHD with you. I'd love to get to know you and your ADHD situation, talk about your kids, talk about your spouse, talk about you, whatever might be helpful and productive face-to-face. I am learning a lot about face-to-face interactions, and I think we need them as humans. There is a safety blanket, a security that comes from showing up and being behind a screen, and I'm really grateful for the screen and for how convenient it is. And there is a power in connecting human to human, face to face, in real life, in real time, and giving each other physical hugs or handshakes or high fives. And I hope that I get to meet a few of you this week, and just know that you're doing great. It might not feel like it, but the fact that you've listened to this whole podcast, that you keep showing up for the podcast, it shows your intention of improving your life. I believe in you. I believe that this is the way that we improve. We listen, we apply, we have courage, we change bit by bit, and it's a good way to live your life. Know how much I love you, and I'm always cheering you on. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Busy Brain Saint podcast. If you're eager to explore the world of ADHD coaching, make sure to connect with me on Instagram at Camden_ADHD, or visit my website, CamdenADHDcoaching.com. For more LDS-specific ADHD content, don't forget to follow this podcast and join us on Instagram at The Busy Brain Saint. Listen, I'm here to support you on your journey. I cannot wait to have you as a part of our community. Stay engaged, stay inspired, and remember, you're not alone here. Thanks for being a part of the Busy Brain Saint family.